Hello and welcome to Winchester News Online. I'm Rebecca Johnson. Coming up today, a former Winchester PCSO is found guilty of sending explicit images. Winchester remembers.
Tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow we gave our today.
And a Winchester pub has its eyes on the pies. He was supposed to be keeping people safe, but instead he was messaging a child, asking her to send him explicit images. Daniel Mark Carlson was a community support officer working with Hampshire Police when he was caught in a sting operation. The young girl he thought he was messaging was in fact a police officer. Molly Keane has all the details.
A former member of the police service has been convicted after a sting operation this summer. Daniel Mark Carlson, a police community support officer who was previously based in Winchester, has been found guilty of sending explicit messages to who he thought was a 13-year-old girl. But the 29-year-old from Bishop's Waltham was actually messaging a police officer. Carlson, after being told the profile belonged to a child, continued to exchange messages, offering to pay for sexually explicit images. He's since been given an 8-month prison sentence, suspended for 2 years. Carlson now must complete 200 hours of unpaid work and undergo rehabilitation. On top of this, he will now be included on the sex offenders register for the next 10 years. Deputy Chief Constable Sam DeRea gave the following statement.
The abhorrent behaviour displayed by Daniel Carlson has absolutely no place in society, let alone in policing. As police officers and staff, we are entrusted with protecting the most vulnerable in our communities, particularly children, a duty at the core of public service and our child-centred policing approach. The messages Carlson sent, believing he was engaging with a child, are reprehensible and totally at odds with what the public rightly expect from those working in the police service.
If you have any concerns or worries with the behaviour or conduct of the police service in this area, you are able to report them on the Hampshire Police's website. Molly Keane, Winchester News Online.
Calls are growing for the Archbishop of Canterbury to resign after failing to act on a report about the child abuse of the Winchester barrister. John Smythe's violent abuse of more than 100 children and young men was covered up by the Church of England, according to a damning report. Francesca Pritchard has the latest.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, is facing mounting pressure to resign after the Mackin Review last week stated he did not follow up rigorously enough on reports of barrister John Smythe's abuse of more than 100 boys and young men. It is clear from the report that the barrister may have been brought to justice before his death in 2018, had he been formally reported to the police in 2013. During the 1970s and 80s, John Smythe's victims included pupils from local private school Winchester College. Smythe would take his victims to his home in Winchester. The Archbishop of Canterbury, principal leader of the Church of England, has refused to resign, stating he had considered resignation but has decided to stay in his role following the report which made it clear that he had personally failed. Bishop Hartley of Newcastle is currently the most senior member of the church to call on Justin Welby to stand down. In recent moments, Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer has piled on pressure for the Archbishop to resign. I have contacted Bishop of Winchester, but he is unavailable for comment. Follow Winchester News Online for further updates.
Winchester College commissioned an independent review into Smythe's actions in 2022 and apologised unreservedly for its part in the victims' terrible experiences. Have you ever noticed an increase in people using the e-cigarette? Well, this soon could be changing, and the government will enforce a new ban on disposable vapes. Mariella Southern can tell us more.
The government has confirmed that the sale of single-use vapes will be banned in England and Wales from the 1st of June next year. This legal action was initially proposed by the Conservative Party, as well as the ban on purchasing tobacco products for anyone born from 2009 onwards. While vaping has previously been considered a positive alternative for people looking to quit smoking, many people are now picking up vaping without ever having smoked previously, and an alarming number of those are young people. The ban on single-use vapes is with an aim to protect children's health. While it's illegal for anyone under 18 to buy the products, campaigners argue that the packaging and marketing of single-use vapes appeals to young people, something that Labour said it would put a stop to during the King's speech in July. Last year, 20.5% of 11 to 17-year-olds had tried vaping, compared to only 13.9% in 2020, and vaping is now twice as common as smoking in children. As well as protecting children's health, banning single-use vapes will help to reduce environmental damage. Disposable vapes contain lithium batteries which cause hundreds of waste fires each year, as well as circuit boards which can leak toxic compounds into the environment if not disposed of properly. Most users do not recycle their vapes once finished, and almost 5 million vapes were thrown away each week last year. Chancellor Rachel Reeves also announced a vaping tax in the budget, which will see a tax of £2.20 per 10 millilitres of e-cigarette liquid. This will be enforced from October 2026. The same increase will be applied per 100 cigarettes in tobacco duty.
In what was a huge surprise for many, Donald Trump has won his second term as the President of the United States of America. The race for the White House did not end as closely as everyone seemed to think it would, but now the world is gearing up for another 4 years under Trump. Maeve Corbett is here to round off their election coverage.
Thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your
convicted felon, insurrectionist, criminal. There's a lot of words people have used to describe the next president of the United States. J.D. Vance, Trump's soon-to-be vice president, once compared Trump to Hitler, but his last vice president, Mike Pence, called him a good man. So what exactly does the average person think of the president-elect?
I think he cares more about the American people, and also that he has more administrative skills and that he's a better negotiator.
Even though he's not yet been inaugurated, Donald Trump's second term is already rife with controversy. He's refused to sign a mandatory ethics agreement required for the transition of power, has allowed Elon Musk in on what should be confidential political calls, and many of his supporters have called for violence against women and for the revoking of certain civil rights, such as women's right to vote.
As a queer, trans, and disabled American, I am deeply afraid of what a Donald Trump presidency could mean for myself and for our country.
However, this doesn't necessarily deter people. Millions across the United States still see Trump as a leader who can boost the economy and pull away from perceived social immorality. Additionally, he has already been getting to work with calling a large amount of international leaders, and even our own UK politicians have already begun to back his term. For now, Joe Biden will remain the president for the next few months. We'll have to wait for the 20th of January to see what a second Trump presidency will bring us. Maeve Corbett, Winchester News Online.
we're going to fix everything about our country. And
to celebrate a charity's 15 years of service for the homeless, Emmaus, Hampshire held a service at Winchester Cathedral to commemorate their anniversary. The service honoured the Emmaus companions who have had their lives rebuilt and those who had helped rebuild them. Alexandra Stapleton went to find out more about their cause.
The procession was held on the 18th of October in the cathedral's choir in celebration of Emmaus Hampshire's 15th anniversary. The service celebrated the success of the charity, with their main focus being on providing opportunities, a place to stay and support for homeless people.
Emmaus is a homeless charity that helps people get back into work. We provide accommodation for up to 40 companions at any one time, and they work in our social enterprise. We have 5 companions here today who have all moved on to independent living. They all have full-time jobs, all over salaries of £30,000. They all have accommodation that's sustainable with long-term contracts, and we think that's the real success.
Well, it's lovely to have this event, 15th anniversary celebrations in the cathedral. Alison Thompson said that it's about humanity and not so much about religion, and she's quite right. But we like to think the cathedral's a place where all of humanity can gather, even people playing electric violins and doing catwalks, because everything can be offered to the Almighty, the Creator, and that's why we're pleased to have it here today.
Towards the end of the service, a pop-up catwalk show in collaboration with Emmaus had models wearing reused fashion for men and women, which was styled by personal stylist Sarah Sullivan. After 15 years of service by Emmaus Hampshire, will we see a decline in homelessness on our streets? Alexandra Stapleton, Winchester News Online.
Incidents of drink spiking have begun to fall over the last few years all across the country. However, it is still not uncommon as it was pre-pandemic and people are still scared. It's important to know how to keep you and your friends safe. Alexa Petticass tells us more about what spiking is and how to prevent it.
Drink spiking is still a big problem in the UK. More and more people live in the fear of being drugged, as according to the National Police Chiefs Council, Most spiking incidents happen in public places, especially places where people go to enjoy themselves at night. Across the three main student areas in the county, Southampton, Portsmouth and Winchester, 91 spiking offences were reported to the police in 2023. The most common substance used for spiking is alcohol. However, the infamous date rape drugs can be used. Roofie and GHB are the most known date rape drugs. I spoke to Jane, a victim of spiking. Her name and voice have been changed to protect her identity.
I was 16 when I got spiked. I was at a party with my friends from college. I trusted them.
If a drink has been spiked with a date rape drug, it's unlikely that the victim will see, smell or taste any difference, no matter what type of drink they are having.
When I got there, I was offered a shot. I don't know why I drank it or what it was. I only remember that after 15 minutes I blacked out.
Drink spiking can also have long-term effects, such as severe emotional consequences.
I went home and didn't tell anyone. I was embarrassed. I still think about it. It made me a bit paranoid. I self-isolated.
There are a few ways to prevent from getting spiked, such as always keeping an eye on your drink, be cautious if you are bought or given a drink, and alert staff immediately if you see anyone acting suspiciously around your or someone else's drink.
If you or someone you know has been spiked, report it to the police. You may be saving someone's life. Alexia Pitikas, Winchester News Online.
From classrooms to living rooms, the use of mobile phones in secondary schools is debated up and down the country. This past week, the Winchester City Council met to discuss this issue further. George Busby tells us more.
On November the 6th, the Winchester Council met to discuss the possible ban of mobile phones in secondary schools. 29 councillors voted in favour of the motion, whilst none voted against it. Councillor John Tippett-Cooper led the discussion.
What Winchester City Council has done is put a motion to its full council to put pressure on Hampshire County Council, which is responsible for schools across Hampshire County, to provide clear guidance to schools about the banning or restriction of smartphones in schools. So the main problems with smartphones in schools, the research is showing that having a huge impact on students' ability to focus and concentrate during classroom sessions. Even with a mobile phone switched off, a smartphone switched off, research is showing that the loss of concentration is up to 20% amongst young people. It's far, far higher with smartphones that are obviously on. It's an emerging area of research at the moment. The more it's looked into, the more problems are materialising.
With the Winchester Council's unanimous vote to ban mobile phones in secondary schools, they will now take it to the Hampshire Council to put their plan into action.
I think they should be banned until they finish school. How about you, Anita?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think kids are on the phone far too much of the time anyway.
No, I think it should be encouraged. We're in the age of modern technology, and I think children should be allowed to use mobile phones as much as they want, really.
George Busby, Winchester News Online.
While we have been on the air, the Archbishop of Canterbury has resigned following the damning report into a prolific child abuser from the Winchester associated with the Church of England. The report concluded that Justin Mobley had failed to act after learning about the abuse by Smythe QC in 2013, sparking calls for him to quit. Last Sunday, local members of the armed forces and the community gathered at Winchester Cathedral for the annual Remembrance Service. Francesca Pritchard reports.
When you go home, tell them of us and say, for your tomorrow, we gave our today.
Today, remembrance services are held up and down the country. Here at Winchester Cathedral, it is no different, as the local community gather to remember those lives lost. Armed forces and veterans paraded from Winchester Guildhall to the cathedral to pay their respects. Many then gathered inside the cathedral to attend the remembrance service.
Here today because of them, and that's the reason why. So we are here, and this is the only one day that we remember them and acknowledge and thank them whatever they have given to us.
In the 106th year of remembrance, the significance of the day is as prominent now as ever. Remembrance Sunday is an important period of reflection and recognition of the contributions of veterans, serving members of the armed forces, and those who have lost their lives in both historic and recent conflicts.
All those millions of men and women who died, all those names on the walls of this great cathedral and on war memorials up and down this country and in fields far from here, they belong to us.
I might have not ever deployed in war type situations, but I've always obviously support them, so today meant really a lot for me.
Armistice Day is observed up and down the country as we play our part in a service of national and international remembrance. Francesca Pritchard,
Winchester Roundtable is a charity group made up of 18 to 40-year-old men who use their professional and social skills to create fundraising events. The bonfire is annually their biggest one. They put on a spectacular show each year with vendors supplying food and drink. Emily Byway spoke to the chair and vice chair of the event to find out more.
Lighting up the sky with a bang, the Roundtable's annual fireworks night, with volunteers giving up their time and services for days before. I went behind the scenes to find out how the event is put together.
So the actual setup for the event is 3 days. Start on Thursday and set up site for the Thursday, Friday, and into the Saturday, and then the event is in the Saturday evening.
There's so many moving parts to Bonfire, and it's just a real honour to be able to be part of this because it's our 66th year this year, so we've got a proud tradition in hosting the Bonfire and Fireworks of Winchester. All the money that we raise after the cost of putting on the event is given away to charity, so that we specially select all the sort of local Winchester and Hampshire-based charities.
The bonfire is lit, and we use pyrotechnics, and this year we've got 2 cannons. We wait for the bonfire to die down, and then the fireworks follow.
In just a few days, this field will hold 20,000 people, all ready to be a part of Winchester Roundtable's biggest fundraising event of the year. After the spectacular show on Saturday, with fireworks and music, mixed with food and drink, the Roundtable has raised a staggering amount for local charities. Emily Byway, Winchester News Online.
Grassroots music is the fabric of the music industry, and many venues are now struggling as a result of the economic challenges and the budget. Music Venue Trust anticipate a spate of venue closures across the country, threatening over 12,000 jobs, £250 million in economic activity, and over 75 live music events being lost per year. Kieran Tibbett tells us what this means for one particular venue close to home.
Every artist dreams of selling out the huge music venues in London, but they all have to start somewhere smaller. The local grassroots music venue is where most journeys begin, and many are now threatened by economic challenges. Music Venue Trust, a UK registered charity that aims to protect, secure and improve grassroots music venues, predict that 350 venues are at immediate risk of closure as a result of the recent budget. That's a potential loss of over 75,000 live music events per year.
There needs to be a more even-handed financial responsibility for what is effectively research and development, and that should be happening. In our opinion, the most easy way to do that would be if, when you sell a ticket for an arena or a stadium, a percentage of that money is going into a fund to support grassroots music venues. We need support from the general public in explaining this to MPs, so we would encourage everybody to write to their MP on the specific issue of business rates and on the specific issue of how do we get more support into grassroots music venues.
Hampshire is home to over 20 music venues overall, including the Joiners in Southampton and the Railway Inn here in Winchester.
Well, right now I think we're in a position where you're seeing people start to realise what grassroots music means to the UK as a whole. What we do represent is the ability for young bands in the cities to be able to get a platform to play for the first time.
While Music Venue Trust await a response from the government, they continue to urge people of all ages to help shine a spotlight on the grassroots music scene and the risk of venues closing. Kieran Tibbett for Winchester News Online.
From the venues to the streets, there's music in the air in Winchester as One Basket is proving to be a big hit in the city and on social media. Robbie Cully has warmed the hearts of residents by including an elderly lady as part of his performances. Lenny Teague headed down to the city centre to tune in.
Lie down.
Winchester High Street is a popular destination for buskers and performers, and one particular man has made the Hampshire City a weekly hotspot for his performances. Robbie Cully is a singer that busks across the south of England and has established a following of over 220,000 on TikTok, largely thanks to streaming his Winchester performances. He even welcomes a local lady, 84-year-old Claire, to sing and dance as part of his performance. The pair continue to bring in the crowds, with tons of people stopping each week to watch and enjoy Robbie's performances.
Oh, I think he's absolutely brilliant, really uplifting, just made my day really.
In a city that is well known for its arts and culture, this one busker is certainly drawing the crowds. But how exactly does Robbie Cully stand out from the rest of the performers in Winchester?
I felt when I started doing the busking, I was like, I really want to do something different and engage with people. So I feel like the dancing and the singing, it helps.
People particularly seem to enjoy seeing Robbie welcome an older member of the community to not only watch him, but also be involved.
But look what he's doing with that lady, having a dance and things.
Every day there's a musician out here, she'll want to dance. You know, an elderly lady like Claire, some of them don't get attention, or, you know, they're very lonely at times as well. So the fact that I can give her a little bit of light and the music, it probably takes her back a few years, and just that general happiness, it really means the world.
Robbie Cully is certainly bringing joy to the people of Winchester with his performances, through not only his singing voice, but also his desire to include members of the city's community. Lenny Teague, Winchester News Online.
This weekend was the annual pie competition in Winchester, and our reporter Rebecca Perez-Taylor went to get a slice of the action.
The Hyde Tavern Pie Competition for Charity has been going on for over 14 years, and this year we got to see it once again. Every participant brings their home-baked pie. They write down the main ingredients and it's put into one of three categories: non-vegetarian, vegetarian and sweet pies.
We've been running the pie competition for the last probably 12 years, and we started off with 8 or 9 pies the first year, and now we're up to 29.
After the pies had been judged, people had a chance to buy a slice for only £3, and all the funds raised go to the children's charity that year.
The goal of the event is to bring people together as a community and raise some money for charity. Last year we raised £800 for the World Food Programme. I don't know how much we've raised this year, or have to find out and add up everything, but it's always a good day.
But why do people love this event so much?
Well, it's just a really fun event, and everyone participates, whether they're baking a pie or bringing in a pie. Everyone's really involved in it, which is great atmosphere.
Yeah, knowing so many people throughout Hyde, and everyone just here to make the best pie and go for it like that. It's really fun.
And at the end of the day, the winner was announced.
So the overall winner of the 2024 Hyde Tavern Pie Competition is Quentin and Jake Brooke with the apricot pie.
Rebecca Perez-Taylor, Winchester News Online.
Our entertainment correspondent Isabel Jones gives us the rundown on I'm a Celeb and the Lineker brothers.
Good afternoon, Isabel here with your first ever Winol Entertainment Roundup. And have I got news for you? I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here. Last night, the official OG cast was announced. We are looking forward to seeing the one with the tunes, Dean McCulloch, Radio 1 DJ, the first TikTok sensation to enter the jungle, GK Barry, who is swapping internet haters for a different kind of snake. And let's hope we won't see any scraps in there with former boxing champion Barry McGuigan. They will be joined by other dancers, actors, artists and journalists. Now, make sure you don't freak out when you see a spider this Sunday at 9 p.m. Now, Mr. Marmite, Match of the Day presenter Gary Lineker, is set to step down. Last year, a politically questionable tweet landed him with plenty of online backlash, to which he responded with, "Great to see the freedom of speech champions out in force this morning, demanding silence from those with whom they disagree." Now, speaking about the Linekers, his party animal brother Wayne has also reached out following yet another long-winded feud between the siblings, stating that their parents will be looking down on us with one wish. That would be to become proper brothers again. #life's too short. Now, that is all we have time for today. Life's too short? This roundup's too short. I get you, Wayne. Look forward to seeing you next time. I've been Isabel Jones with your Winol Entertainment.
That's all we have time for on this week's Winol. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.